Hi, in this video we will learn how to build this dashboard that tracks different metrics from an issue tracker called Redmine that allows us to export the issue information in a JSON file. And I'm getting the data from this redmine.org is the project, and they have their own issues there. But I download them so you can play with them from a file so that we don't overwhelm the system. If you want to download Redmine issues from another instance, we have a project, a script here at github.com/instadex/data-generators in the Redmine folder. Here's the README. It explains the options and gives examples on how to fetch like the 100 last issues, all issues, and from your own instance. So the result is going to be this. You can follow it step by step, like in this video, or you can go to the examples tab and click here on the Redmine issue dashboard from JSON file. Here you can download the files and right click on these two. I recommend you the first one since it's the last 500, and click save link as and store it somewhere. I'm going to download the other one. This one is really big. This project has been running for more than 10 years. So they have almost 5,000 issues there with a lot of contributors and extra information. So we are going to start from scratch. I'm going to create a new dashboard. Let's call it Redmine issues. And we are going to start with a JSON file as usual. It's going to stay persistent and have the channel, and I'm going to apply and select my file. I can either select it or drag it and drop it. We are going to store it in the channel so that our dashboard loads with the latest values. This is the data. As you can see, there's a lot of information. Under the field issues, there's a list, in this case 500 issues, and each issue is here and it has many fields. We are going to grab the fields we want into the basket because the file is really big and we are going to be dragging and dropping a lot. So we care about the priority, the author, and we don't care about the subject or done ratio. You can explore them, the status, when it was created, the type, it's called tracker here. The project here in this case is only Redmine, so I'm not going to use it, but if you have many projects in your Redmine installation, you can use it. We don't care about the ID, and we care about the category. So I'm going to collapse here, because this is a really big JSON file. And the first thing we are going to do is to create a select card, because Instadex can detect table formats from JSON and present a JSON as output, but since this JSON file is nested, it cannot auto-detect it, so we have to do it manually. We have to drag from the basket into the select. To make it closer, I'm going to create now a card below so that we are closer to the top. And it's just a matter of dragging and dropping the fields from the basket into the value placeholder. Now that we are ready, I'm going to clean and close the basket, and I'm going to rename the fields so that they are shorter and more descriptive. Author, category, I could name that type also. We can see we went from a JSON to a table only with one row because we dragged the items, the fields from the first item on the list. So the select assumes we want just the first row, but we want all of them. To do that, we are going to click here on the 0. If you drag from another item, it may be 1 or 2. Click here and it will present alternatives. The only alternative here is to do a range from 0 to infinity, which means all items in the list. We click on the alternative and say that yeah, we want to replace it, and we have to do it for all of them. Otherwise it will generate the same value for all rows if we don't select the range for all of them. Now that we have all our columns from the original data, we want to extract the year and the month from the created on field. So I'm going to click add a calculated field. I'm going to name it month. It will be month and year, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to click on the formula, that's a 0, and it will expand the formulator keyboard. I'm going to go to the formula section and search for format. There's a function called format date width. I'm going to select that one and click on the width or on the value to change the format of the output. And I'm going to remove everything after the M because we want year and month. And I'm going to drag the created on and drop it in date. I'm going to show you an alternative. You select the date and go to the arithmetic section and you can select it from there. That's the alternative. You can either drag and drop it, but sometimes the target is hard to hit, so you can just select the parameter, go to the arithmetic section and select it, click it from the alternatives. So now I'm going to add this month field to the output. And we can see it here, it's shorter, and I'm going to remove created on because we are not going to use it. So now we have all the issues as a table, at least the fields we care about. And I'm going to start by creating a pie chart or a donut chart showing the amount of issues by status. So we need a group by to do that. And I'm going to select and drag and drop the status to the select. And I'm going to select count. The total is 500 because we have 500 issues, but we want to count by status. So now we have the count by status. We can see, like if we sort reverse, we can see that the new status is the one that's used the most. That makes sense because we have the last 500 issues. So it's usual that the most recent issues are opened more often than not. I'm going to create a new card and select chart, and I can either drag and drop. I will do that a lot, but now I can also click on the placeholder and it will list me all the other cards, and I can just select what I want to go in value. So I can click on status count and I can click on the key placeholder and click on status, and I can clear this. And so by default it will do a bar chart, which is okay, but we're going to have a couple of bar charts, so why not have a pie chart? And we want a donut chart, so I'm going to go to the right of the pie chart type selector and click it to toggle the settings of particular to this chart type. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, so I make sure that the labels appear on the chart even when it's small, and I'm going to increase the radius to make it a donut chart. Also, like these names, these status have a meaning. Like some are good and some are bad. Like new is like neutral, confirm is a little bit worse, resolve is good, reopen is even worse, and if feedback is also like neutral. So we would like to pick the colors we use. One alternative is to use the conditional if, else if, but there are many comparisons even when the number of status is not that big. So we're going to use a feature of InstaDeck that's called the dictionary. I'm going to create a new card between the group by and the chart and select the dictionary type. This card allows us to make a mapping from different types to different types, like text to text, text to color, text to number, number to text, and number to color. In this case, we want to map the status, which is text, into color. So I'm going to select this one. By default, it will have one value. I'm going to remove it. And I could either like add one row for each type and enter manually the name, but the easiest way is just to drag the column and drop it in the dictionary, and it will create all the entries with default values. So now what we have to do is give them colors. So let's keep new at blue, it's okay. Needs feedback, let's do like greenish blue. Reopened, make it red. Resolved, let's make it green. The type of color picker that appears depends on the browser and the version, so this one is the one I'm having, also in the operating system, so you may get a different color picker. And confirmed, let's see, Yeah, let's make this an orange. So now we have our own colors. How do we use them here? First, we have to have the chart, the dictionary available on the chart, because you can have a lot of dictionaries in your username, under your username. So to make it available for the chart, we have to drag the dictionary and drop it into the chart. You can see that a huge dictionary appears there. So now we have it available. How do we know it worked? If you go to the bottom, you will see this dictionary icon, and if you click it, it will show you all the dictionaries that are available on the chart. What it means for a dictionary to be available on that chart is that you can use a function. I'm going to click here on the lambda letter, the Greek letter here, to select the whole function, and I'm going to search for the word dictionary. There's this function called lookup in dictionary, and we can say which dictionary. The name is not really good, so let's name it as status to color. So that's better. And we want to look up the key status, and the default, if not found, let's make it bright red, so we know either it's bad or we couldn't find it. And as you can see, we are using the colors from the dictionary. If we change this to something greener, we will see it automatically changes here. So this is an advanced functionality of Instax, but it's really useful when you want to centralize a place where you tell like which things map to which colors, for example, only in one place, and you can use it in all your charts, and they will all share that definition and have the same colors for the same values. So I'm going to collapse the settings. We have our first chart. I'm going to create a new card, and now we are going to make by category. We're going to count by category. I'm going to close this and go closer to the select. It's always useful to create the new cards near the place where we are going to be dragging from. So I'm going to create a new group by. I'm going to again count by category. I can either drag and drop, or I can do what I did before, which is click on the placeholder. We have categories here. I'm going to drag to sort by category count and create a chart. I'm going to drag again chart category count by category. Now the bar chart is okay, but we are going to do some changes. So I'm going to toggle the settings for the chart. In this case, I'm going to select the horizontal orientation, and we're going to remove this. We're going to leave the legends at the top, so I'm going to remove these ones. To do that, I'm going to go to the while label section and remove the formatting here. And now that I have all this space, I'm going to make the left margin a little bit smaller. Let's set it to 5. And sorry, I'm going to leave that unsorted. Here on the while, I'm going to select inverse. Either we can keep it that way, or as it was on the dashboard, we can sort it to the reverse. We can see here that the third one, the third most used category is the special value not set, which appears in the chart as null. Here we can see it. We can fix that by either on the group by or the select, or here on the chart having a special case. We can click here on category and select the if here and say that if category is equal to the text to not set, then we want to say not set, else use the category. So now it appears as not set instead of null. This is an easy way to map not set values to a specific label. If you have many, you can use a dictionary to do that. So now we have our second chart. I'm going to collapse the settings, and I could start giving names to things. So for the select, we can keep it at select because it's the only one we're going to use. For the group by, there's a good trick. If you control double click or option command double click on Mac, I think, it will give a descriptive name based on the query. On the charts, we want to have our own names because the title of the chart is going to be displayed on the dashboard. So I'm going to say by category. I don't remember the original title. I'm going to control double click on the group by. This one also already has a descriptive name, and here by status. So I'm going to keep giving them titles as I go. Let's go back to close to the select. I'm going to create a new card, again a group by, and now we are going to do contributors. We are going to count the biggest contributors to the project. That's here in author, so we are going to again do count author by author. We can sort it reverse to see the biggest contributors. And now we can do a chart, again, author count by author. And here we want to do something particular, which is we want to make a cut of everybody that contributed less than 2 to the project. We are not going to display it because they are someone that contributed once or twice and then never came back. So I'm going to drag the author count into the where condition, and I'm going to click on the equal, and I'm going to select greater or equal, greater than, and click on the 49 or whatever number was there, clean it, and click on 2. So now our bar chart is smaller, and we can actually see some of the contributors. Let's call it most contributions and give it a title to the group by. And let's go back close to the select. Now I'm going to do contribution different ones. These are the stacked bar charts. We already did this one, and this one. We are going to do these two that are pretty similar. So what we have to do is again create a group by and count by tracker. These are all counts because if you see all of the columns are not numeric, so we cannot sum or get averages or minimums or maximums. So this dashboard is shows this case where you have a lot of things that are not numbers, but you can still make a lot of dashboards. So we want to group tracker count by month and tracker. The tracker is not a good name, but this is the one that came. And here is something important. We want to sort by month. Otherwise, the charts are going to look weird. They are not going to be ordered chronologically. So now I create a chart and chart track count by month by tracker. And already looks the way we want, so we are not going to do anything else other than give it a name by, I will call it type. So you can see the 500 issues covers 2 years of issues almost, and the whole data set is like, I don't know, more than 10 years. I think they started in 2007. So the next one is going to be really similar, group by, but we are going to count by status by month. So count status by month by status, sort by month, control double click to give it the title. You start to see patterns, things that are really similar. So now I'm going to chart status count by month by status. This one is already the way we want it, by status by month. Oops. And I'm going to do the last one, I think, which is category by month, but it's a heat map. It's still pretty similar, we just have to change the chart. Again, a group by. I I say it by category, yeah. Count category by month, by category, sort by month, auto set title, create a chart category count by month, by category. And now select this one. That the reason why I use a heatmap is because there are so many categories that there's not a lot of meaningful information if you use a stacked bar chart. Even if we change it to make it lines or anything, or group charts. So I'm going to select heatmap from the available charts. We can see now that we have the time on the y-axis and the categories on the x-axis is okay, it makes sense, but we can do it the other way around. So I'm going to toggle the settings, and I'm going to drag the month to the category and the category to the subcategory. So now they are reversed. And I think that's all for this one, other than the title. Now that we have all the charts, we go to the bottom or to the top and create a new card, layout card. Let's call it Redmine Issues Dashboard. And now we have to drag all the charts here. And the way to do it is to basically, I can do this one over here. We just drag the card and drop it here. I'm not going to do that. But the other ones are far apart and we have to go look for them. One alternative is to put them all in the basket and then drag them from there. So we have them close. But now I'm going to use another feature, which is filter. I'm going to click the filter here. Now there's no filter, but I'm going to control click on twice on the filter for visual cards. So now it's filtering and only displaying cards that are visual. And I'm going to go to the bottom and I'm going to control click on the collapse so that it collapses all the cards. And now I'm going to expand it again. So now, as you can see, we have all the visible cards on the deck collapsed really close. I'm going to just start dragging and dropping them so we can at least see what they are, and then later we can arrange them by this one and the last one. So now that we finished using the filter, we can clean it and go to the bottom. And I'm going to arrange them. Let's see. So this one over here. It may not be exactly the way it is, so that I can make it faster. I think this one goes over here. Let's see. I'm going to collapse all the other cards so that it doesn't update all the charts all the time. So yeah, this one goes over here. It's a good practice to work with a small subset of the final data so that the updates don't take time to re-display the charts. But it was okay for this case. So now we have our dashboard, and we can either, if you are doing it in the trial session, if you share it, you're not going to see the data right now because we don't support persistent channels on the trial session. This means that when you load the shared resource, it cannot load the data from the channel because there's no data in the channel. So if you did it in the trial session, you can just set it to read only, and you will see how it would look like when you share it. And the alternative is for somebody using an account at Instag is to toggle the actions and select share. You can change the settings here. I'm going to set it to dark in this case because this one is already light, so we can see how it looks in dark mode. As you can see, it's a good practice to set the title of the layout card, because it will pick up that and set it as the title and the URL, so we don't have to write it there. Now I'm going to share, and here I can see that it's been shared, and I'm going to click to open it, and we can see it this time with the dark mode. I should play with the colors on the heat map, otherwise it doesn't look as nice. So let's go back into this one. And for example, here we can see that there was a moment in 2019 when they opened a lot of issues related to UI, and there are some other hotspots like here, issue list. And another pattern you can find here is that there are some categories that were created later. That's why this whole area is empty. And that there's a huge contributor called Go Maeda, and the second one is anonymous. And the most issues are on UI, or categorized as issues, or with any type not set, then email notifications. So we can start seeing patterns already. So this was how to create a dashboard from a JSON file with a real use case, getting the data from the Redmine project. It's an issue tracker, open source issue tracker. And you can either build it following the instructions here and following the guide, which you have the link on the... If you open the template, here is a link to the guide, and you have the link to the files here. Or you can do it completely or just follow it from the guide. If you want to use it on your own projects, you can use this issue fetcher script from our GitHub repository. Follow the instructions here. And we are going to create a more detailed example on how to fetch more information and create more advanced dashboard with Redmine, and doing continuous data integration using stuff like Apache Nifi or stream sets. If you have any question, just add a comment on the comment section below, or contact us on social media. Bye.